Freedom. It's the promise of the American dream. But for millions, that dream is a lie. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a system that binds us, not with iron chains, but with economic ones. Let's talk about wage labor and why it's closer to slavery than you might think. Imagine this. You work 12 hours a day, barely scraping by. Your boss decides your hours, your pay, your future. If you complain, you're out the door. If you quit, you risk hunger, debt, or worse. Is this freedom? Or is it just a softer kind of servitude? Over a century ago, workers in America called it wage slavery. They saw the truth. When you're forced to sell your labor just to survive, you're not free. You're dependent, controlled. Back then, people fought for the right to own their work, to be artisans, farmers, creators, not cogs in a machine owned by someone else. Today, that fight is far from over. In our modern economy, the game is rigged. Corporations and elites hold the wealth, the power, the means of production. Workers? We're left with crumbs, forced to trade our time, our health, our lives for wages that barely keep us afloat. This isn't freedom. It's exploitation dressed up as opportunity. Think about it. A gig worker for Uber or DoorDash earns less than minimum wage after expenses. Factory workers in Bangladesh stitch clothes for pennies while brands rake in billions. Even here, in the so-called land of opportunity, millions live paycheck to paycheck, one missed shift away from ruin. This is economic coercion, a system where you work or you starve. The numbers don't lie. Since the 1970s, worker wages have barely budged, while corporate profits and CEO pay have skyrocketed. They call it a free market, but it's a market designed to keep wealth flowing upward, leaving workers trapped in a cycle of dependency. But it doesn't have to be this way. History shows us resistance is possible. Workers once stood together, demanding fair pay, safe conditions, and dignity. They knew that true freedom means controlling your own labor, your own life, not selling it to the highest bidder. Wage labor doesn't have to be slavery. We have the power to change it. Join the fight for justice, for dignity, for a world where no one is chained by the need to survive.